Hello, my loves, here on YouTube. I am so happy to be back with you. I have been traveling abroad, and I just recently returned from my trip and wasn't in the business of doing any kind of YouTube work or social media work and taking away from enjoying every moment while I was traveling through Europe. And so now I am back today, and I've missed you guys here so much on YouTube. And don't you worry, because along the way, even though I was overseas, I was still collecting and gathering data, because that is just what my mind does. My mind fixates on the conversations that we have right here on this very channel of the data and information of men and women and communication, and women having these delicious romantic partnerships, and how they can properly date, and how to navigate the dating world, and why some women can't seem to win in the world of love. So for the first topic today that I thought would be befitting to return with is why some of you ladies are undateable, why you are struggling in the game of dating, and maybe you can't get second dates. First and foremost, before we ever approach the world of dating and love and men and trying to even understand them and attract the best quality kind of man for us that matches our goals and desires, is we first have to acknowledge why we even need a man. We have to acknowledge and kind of self-actualize what our belief systems are around men and how men show up for you and how men provide for you, and understanding the truth of what a man can bring and fulfill in your life that you can't bring for yourself. You have to sort of adapt this pure perspective, untainted perspective of men and what they mean to you. And so that means you have to first address your maybe nasty deep childhood wounds, maybe your nasty daddy issues that you're carrying through life, and understand how it's shaping and forming your perspective around men, and then in turn shaping the way that you attract guys and draw in these relationships to you. And if you're someone who struggles with maybe you have poor relationship patterns and you just can't seem to attract these quality guys who wine you and dine you and treat you like a queen and speak to you softly and just want to give you the world, then you have to go back inside of yourself and understand what it is inside of you that is drawing these guys in, because that is exactly what it always comes back down to, is you, how you perceive the world, how you have addressed your deepest, ugliest wounds inside of yourself, and how you can 360 it, shift them in a way to where you reach a higher consciousness within yourself. Some of you ladies might not even know the belief systems that you're carrying with you through your life. And I know for sure, because when I was in that state, when I was younger, I didn't even know that I was carrying all of these, daddy issues, as we would say. I didn't know that I had some very tainted perspectives of men, and that I didn't fully appreciate the things that a man could bring into my life. And so in order to get to the point now where I am romanced and wined and dined and just attracting just amazing provider men, I had to address that issue. I had to address the issue and acknowledge that my heart wasn't pure. I didn't have a pure heart posture surrounding men in general, just the male species. And that is something that feminism has very successfully indoctrinated onto modern women, is that all men are bad, and you know the drill, the wishy-washy garbage out there to kind of kick down men and degrade men to where we feel like we're more on top of them. And that's not the way that you win in the game of love, romance, and communication with the opposite sex. And so when you've done the inner healing work and elevated yourself beyond the common consciousness that is surrounding us, and you are above it, then you're no longer fitting into the conversations amongst your friends of their toxic relationship patterns and all of their boy issues and all of the ways that they're dealing with all of these male problems and male love blocks. Because you no longer fit into that, because that is no longer your reality. You can't relate to that anymore. And that's how you know that you have ascended beyond their consciousness and what energetic space that they're operating from, because you no longer fit into these conversations. Those conversations no longer make you feel alive. You no longer feed on that drama. Like, that is beneath you, and now you've ascended to a place where you can actually be a role model to those that are beneath you in that way. Those that haven't ascended to that yet. They are still in the area of needing to grow, right? You become the role model for them, and you become something that they look up to and that they want to aspire to be like, and to attract those similar experiences as you are, because you've already reached that point. So notice the ways that you are speaking of men. Notice the ways that you are even communicating to men. If you're saying nasty things to them, if they approach you and reach out to you and, try to take you out, and you are responsive in a very ungraceful manner. Even if it is this jockey guy who is maybe, giving you too much sexual innuendo. Maybe he's being a little douchey. You know what I mean? Those are always out there. But like, you've done the inner healing work to where you don't respond to that. You don't play into that. You don't respond in a nasty way back. You just are so graceful and playful in your response to that. And also realizing that that is not an energetic match for you. So you teach people how to treat you based on how you present yourself, how you carry yourself, how you speak about others and the world and things and life and animals and plants and just everything around you, how you carry yourself walking through life. That is how you teach people how to treat you when you are operating in a high vibrational state. Remember, every word that comes out of your mouth is an affirmation. It's either an affirmation for all of your amazing, delicious desires, or an affirmation to keep attracting the things that you don't want. And your subconscious mind still is clinging on to it. But your conscious mind is saying that you don't want this thing that is bringing you all this destructive pain and chaos and drama, right? But your subconscious, your internal, your nervous system, at your nervous system level, it still is clinging on to that because it's making you feel alive, right? That's why this work requires deep inner healing work at a nervous system level, because sometimes your conscious mind can play tricks on you because you see on social media and all your favorite influencers getting wined and dined, and their man is showing up with flowers every weekend for them, and they're having all of these amazing experiences, and your conscious mind is saying, oh yes, that's what I want, that's what I deserve, somebody owes me that. But your conscious mind can't seem to draw that in because at a deeper level, you are rejecting it. You are blocking it. You have deep inner love blocks that is preventing that life from stepping into your path. Which is another reason in itself to feel more appreciative is, a lot of these guys, it's not easy for them to take on the responsibility of, having a wife and making a decision to have a wife and have kids and, always vow to keep a house over their head, meals on the table. Like, it's especially in the economy where everything is very, very expensive, and most people, the average American family, are struggling to get by because things are just so expensive for them. So it's not an easy thing. It's not something that even though they know what to do and they're wired to do this, doesn't mean that it requires mental effort and motivation within themselves and their own mental inner healing work, because men are a human just like you, right? You come into relationship with things and unhealed issues and, childhood things and belief systems that were given to you by your parents. And so do men, right? And so you have to have the grace and understanding for that. And that when a man is making that big responsibility, that commitment to, take things, make sure that you have the means of survival. And when you have kids, that your kids are always fed. It's a big responsibility to hold. And that's why men carry all of their weight in their upper body, and women hold all of the responsibility and their most creative energy in their womb space. So we are not owed men to, provide for us. And sometimes it takes a woman being completely self-sufficient and completely independent in order to appreciate all of those things that a man can do. And that's why it's actually very helpful for me, like being someone who is very, very self-sufficient and independent, and I only have myself to rely on, and I have to be responsible. I have to be responsible for myself and keep myself alive. And it's a huge burden on myself, especially as a woman. And I am not negating that fact. Like, for those of you who are out here doing the same thing, like, it's okay to acknowledge that it's a huge burden at times, and it can feel overwhelming and almost anxiety inducing. But my point here is that sometimes it's good for, like, my sister being in the situation that she's in, where she's a stay-at-home mom and she's never seen a bill in her life, right? But she can understand it from her sister's perspective. Not just me, but also the other sisters who are in that and who do have to, take responsibility for ourselves and, make sure that we make ends meet and always have the bills paid, and all of this mental energy that we have to exert, not only physical energy in the workforce, but also the mental energy of okay, we have to make this certain amount, and this bill is going to come out on this day, and we have to pay this bill by this time. Like, it's a lot, and it kind of keeps you in this loop, right? So my point here being that you sometimes have to be in that and have to be fully self-sufficient and independent in order to become dependent, in order to become interdependent on a man to provide that to you. And that is how you fully experience the amazingness and deliciousness of what a man can provide to you. And as I always talk about on here, it's not just, men providing finances and having the bills paid. Of course, that's important too, and it is the most basic level of providing, right? But that's not all there is to it, because men have to provide in so many more ways than just financial matters. But when you sort of have these experiences for yourself as an independent woman, of doing it yourself and having to rely only on you for your own survival means, then you kind of create these brain waves in your brain that help you to always look back on this time, even when you do get married to a man who is fully providing for you. That it's difficult at times. And even if your guy is, always making, plenty of money to survive and always having an abundance of money to survive and all of that amazing stuff that we all strive towards and all, should have, because that is in alignment with God's will for us, right? Even with all of that, like, it's still something that you have to mentally stay clocked into of, having the responsibility of keeping other people alive and keeping their needs met. Knowing that for yourself helps you to recall those times that you had to do it for yourself, and it helps you in turn be more appreciative of when you do have a man doing those things for you, okay? So the topic of entitlement, you ladies need to stop going into dating with this sense of entitlement, because all of that I just told you is going to help shape your reality and shape your beliefs and your perspective around things, helping you to not show up in a sense of entitlement that men owe you something. That somehow, just because you're female, you are owed all of this luxury treatment, this vacations every so often, this wine and dine, every weekend, this man showing up with flowers, at your doorstep, like all of these things that we do so desire and can attract. We can't carry this sense of entitlement along with it because coincidentally, we end up repelling just that, okay? And so you have to be in that energetic space, that you have to be operating in that frequency in order to be able to even draw that in and have that experience for yourself. You have to become the vibrational match for that. And it does not happen by having a sense of entitlement, but rather a sense of graciousness and gratefulness for everything that you are given, right? And I know sometimes it can be so hard to stay locked in to that appreciativeness, right? But we have to just keep, like, every single day, keep reminding ourselves that, God has given you this blessing. What is around you that you have that maybe other people don't have? Or, that you're grateful that you have, food on the table, and any small ways that you can find the abundance. You have to look for that, right? You have to train your brain to look for that. And that's how you never show up in this sense of entitlement. And women who have not yet ascended beyond the collective consciousness here on the planet, those that are still operating in that very low vibrational frequency, they believe that in order to get what they desire, they have to express their complaints. And the reason why we express our complaints is because we think that that is the way that we can get what we desire. Like, if I believe within myself that I am not worthy to be provided for and know the truth of how men operate and what their God-given gifts are from God and how God has wired them to be, and how women are wired to be in receiving that gift from men. If I believe that I'm not worthy of being provided for, and the truth of it, because I'm consuming all of this outside nonsense garbage and all of the opinions and lies of other people, if I have nothing to bring me back to the biblical truth, then I will always be communicating my desire to be provided for in a way that is actually blocking it and saying that I don't feel worthy to be provided for. I hope that's making sense to you, because a lot of women think that they have to complain and assume and correct and demand certain things in order to get the thing that they are going for and be in alignment with that desire. But that's not how it works, because when you're walking in the embodiment of someone who feels worthy and you're at that vibrational frequency, you're operating in that every day of your life, waking up in that, then your desires they're going to find their way to you, and you don't have to complain in order to get what it is that you want. Now, ladies, I know a lot of you come from families and women in your generations who have gone about this the wrong way. They have not communicated things in the proper way and expressed their desires in the way that people want to give people, things, plants, God, energy, like everything wants to give it to them because they're actually in a space of blocking it and rejecting it, right? A lot of you come from those kinds of families, and myself included. I come from women who know nothing about communication and who are always at the complaint, and who are always expressing their nasty complaints in a manipulative manner. And that's something that they do in order to try to seduce and manipulate an outcome, rather than allowing the other person to just give it to them from free will, from their own free will, from the goodness of their own heart, from their own desire to want to do so. So trust me, I know, and I still have to deal with it because, like my family, I know how they communicate. But guess what? I've ascended beyond that. And so their words and their communication methods no longer have anything to do with me. They no longer affect me. And I actually look at them like they're ridiculous, like they're insane, like they're actually a little dumb. Because it is dumb. It's on a frequency that I can't, like, my IQ cannot, I can't get to. I can't reach. My IQ can't reach and grasp that, because my IQ is so much higher than that. And I don't care if this sounds harsh, okay? It is what it is. The truth is the truth, and sometimes the truth is bold and painful, okay? But the point here is that even if you do come from women like that, you can change it. And I am living proof of that. You don't have to carry on all of their generational communication methods and generational curses, because it is curses. You can change the narrative for yourself. And I've gotten a lot off track here, but back to, like, this all ties into why you're undateable, and the perception you have around men. It matters a lot. And so everything that you're saying about them in every which way, every impure feeling in your heart and thought in your brain that comes to you, is that the impure ones, it's a lie, and it's also blocking you from receiving what it is that you ultimately want to attract. And the truth is that if you're here on this channel and all the dating and relationship content out there, and men and women, and teaching women how to be more feminine, then congratulations, you are already a step beyond the most common, like what most people are willing to do, and like the work that they're willing to do on themselves. You're already a step ahead of them. So it's finally just accelerating that change for yourself. And it might mean that you don't need to be dating for a while. You don't need to be dating and trying to, energetically chase after something that you are not even an energetic match for quite yet, because you have to grow inside of yourself to a point where it feels so easy. You know what I mean? It feels like it's just, you don't even have to think about it. It's mindless for you to attract these amazing guys who just want to woo you and wine you and dine you and provide all the things for you and align to your desires. Okay, and so, like, the next reason why you could be considered undateable and not get second dates, or just feel like you're struggling in the game of love, is because, and this is a very common problem out here, especially due to social media, is because you carry this sense of entitlement. It's so easy due to, of course, again, social media standards and influencers out there, and just it's our own doing of gathering all of these things that we see and consume on the internet and forming our own beliefs around it, right? We have to, again, turn it back on ourselves. But it's so easy for us to adapt the mentality that we are owed something, that we are owed a man to provide for us. And yes, while God has granted men the gift of wanting to provide and being amazing in that area, and so much better than we are, and us having the birthright of being provided for, especially when we are having children, right? We are not entitled here. And carrying a sense of entitlement is very off-putting to a truly embodied masculine energy provider kind of guy. That's not an energy that is attractive to him or to anyone, right? I know when I do something for, one of my family members who most of them are not healthy, okay? And it's not landing with them. They're not being appreciative of it, and they feel some sort of entitlement to it just because, I'm daughter, and, maybe their mom or grandma or aunt or whatever, then that doesn't make me want to keep doing things for them, right? It's actually very, very repellent and off-putting to me, and it actually just makes me want to create even more distance with them, right? So we have to understand it in the same light when it comes to a man providing. People think that just because a man is wired to provide and that they know what to do and it's instinctual for them, that it's easy. It's not easy to wake up every morning and, exert all of their testosterone into building a business or, chasing after a career title or, chasing more money and like climbing the corporate ladder. Like, that's not always easy. It requires a lot of effort and requires a lot of mental energy. Some men, physical energy, especially our blue collar workers out there who will always be appreciated in my book. Like those guys, they do a lot of things that they're not even well compensated for.